Kia ora, I'm Chris Nicol. I really like this marae here at Te Papa. It's extraordinary not least because it's home to all New Zealand Māori tribes. The Ratana faith is pan-tribal too, and today we'll meet a member of the Ratana Church, Ruia Aperahama. Like me, you may not have immediately recognised his name, but I think you'll find that his music will probably ring a bell. Ruya is an award-winning songwriter, musician and radio personality who grew up with his twin brother Rania at Ratana Pa near Wanganui. The Ratana faith is at the heart of life on the Pa. It's a distinctively Māori form of Christianity, and its origins go back to 1918 when TW Ratana had an extraordinary vision.
Ratana, as a farmer who worked on his farm, and while he was standing outside his house, he noticed an unusual cloud coming over the horizon. And as he moved into the house, the cloud moved over directly above the house and it exploded. The voice that came out of the cloud spoke and said to Ratana, "Ratana, this is I, the Holy Spirit, peace be unto you. I have travelled the whole world, and the world are getting prepared and ready for war. They have forgotten me. I have come here to you, the Māori nation. I ask for you to go out and heal your people, unite them, and those who choose to follow you shall be called Mōrehu, and your name shall be known as Te Māngai."
Was he seen to have been immediately recognised as another prophet, or was he thought to be a crazy person?
Yeah, I would say all of those, there are those at the time who were looking for a leader. Māoridom in general were looking for someone they could relate to, someone that they could put trust in, someone who would come to deliver them from out of poverty, from out of spiritual deprivation. And so it was up to Ratana to question some of and to critically examine our own culture. And so they were looking for all of these attributes in a leader, and somebody who could take them from a point of disparity, a point of no hope, to a place of hope.
Can you tell me how your family first became engaged with the Ratana faith?
My father comes from the far north, a community called Te Hapua. And during the 1920s, when Ratana travelled throughout the country, healing, evangelising and preaching, he healed a lot of my family. My father's family were touched by him and inspired by him. So in the far north, my family, after meeting Ratana there, all converted to Ratana.
All converted to the Ratana faith.
Yes, they were all traditionally Church of England.
Church of England. Mm-hmm. You say that Ratana healed a number of members of your family?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and on my mother's side, my mother comes from Tu Wharetoa Hirangi, and likewise she also had experiences in her family where there were those who were healed. One example, one of our kuias that was brought to Ratana was blind for over 35 years. So for my family, that's one of the stories that led us to Ratana and following the Ratana Church and movement. And with the healing mission of Ratana was receiving about 300 patients a week. And his healing mission also gained fame throughout the country and also throughout the whole world, where over 750,000 to 1 million letters were received in Ratana, and those are still held in Ratana. So yeah, there was definitely a strong healing mission. But that lasted only for 3 years.
3 years. So your family had been there since that time,
mm-hmm.
and you were a third generation. Your family, Ratana faith, born there
mm-hmm.
and growing up within that community. What was that like?
Oh, that was beautiful for me, growing up there. It was a pan-tribal organisation, so we had to learn how
What do you mean by pan-tribal?
When I mean by pan-tribal, the people that were attracted to Ratana Pa came from different tribes throughout the country. And one of the main focuses of the Ratana Church was the dissemination or the breaking down of intertribal animosities. And he was always encouraging interdenominational activities and kept the community open and encouraged people like Father Sima from the Methodist Church to be involved, the Catholic Church, the Church of England, as well as the traditional Māori beliefs, religions, including the Ringatu Paimarire. Ratana used imagery, symbols, colours. So at a young age, I recognised early that symbols and colours were just as powerful as words.
What's some examples of that kind of use?
The symbols that were used in Ratana Pa are flowers for growth, trees for nurturing, the cutting of the branches about yourself, the tree, always pruning your branches, which means pruning your attitudes, pruning your outlook on life, how you want to deal with people. Colours are important as well. The blue, white, red, purple, gold are very significant in the church and the movement. The blue represents Father, the white represents the Son, the red represents the Holy Spirit, and as you can see, that's of the Christian origins. The purple represents the holy and faithful angels, and the gold represents Māngai, or the mouth of God. There are other images in Ratana Pa, stars, moon, sun, and music played a major role. We have 7 brass bands, choirs, and at a young age I learned about music appreciation, you know, and the power of music.
Did everybody learn about music?
Most of my generation were encouraged to go into music or entertainment. Music is a powerful tool and it's highly valued in the Ratana Church and movement. I come from a large family of 9. All my brothers and sisters all grew up in traditional kapahaka, choir, brass music, brass band music. At an early age, we saw music used as a tool of communication, as a tool of expressing spirituality. Ratana used music to fight against tohunga, or superstition, or black magic. And so we saw that music had a number of purposes.
Ratana also talked about music as an image itself, an image of truth.
Yes. Yeah. His teaching is that music is like the Spirit of God. When I play the note C today, and then play the note C 20 years from now, the note C will be consistent and the same. He was using that analogy. The Spirit of God is like the key note C. It's consistent. However, you and I as people, we may say one thing today and change tomorrow. So, and again, music is powerful in that way.
Was it a strict upbringing?
I suppose growing up, it was normal.
Yes.
In reflection, now that I look back, in some ways, yes, it was strict. Our father would get us up every morning, 6 o'clock, before we went to school. So we had prayers in the morning, prayers at lunchtime. We had to have our prayer at lunchtime, and prayers in the evening at 6 o'clock. And in the community, everyone was expected to go up every evening, 6 o'clock, onto the marae and have service. We were encouraged to have conversations with God.
What did they mean when they said conversations with God?
Sincere prayer. And my mother always used to say, son, what? Talk to him or her. Talk to him. What? Like how, Mum? How? Like you're talking to me. Talk. You don't have to have this ritual, that ritual. Have a conversation.
Your father was well up in the organisation. Did he have aspirations for his son in this regard?
Yes, he did. My father was the General Secretary of the Ratana Church for 40 years, so he carried a legacy from his parents. And he said to me, son, when I pass on, will you carry this on for me? And I says, carry what on for you? If you're asking me to carry on the passion and the love you have for God, or the love you have for life, yes, I will. But if you want me to carry on the legacy of bureaucracy, no, I can't, and I won't accept that. So yeah, there were some dynamic moments there that I had with my father. My mother, however, she was more the liberal thinker and open-minded. Now, our mother, she would always read. She had books all the time, magazines, and she would always encourage us to read. She encouraged us to look outside our community, what we called junctionitis, to look past the junction.
You left Ratana Pa and went to Wellington. And to seek your fortune, if you like. You went, first of all, to Teachers College, but discovered the possibility of playing music for a wider audience as well.
Yes. Being a student, going to Teachers College and Victoria University, I had to find other means of economically supporting myself and, of course, music. So music offered me those opportunities. I was exposed to lots of different things. It was a culture shock leaving Ratana Pa. A big culture shock. The music journey I went through took me into places where my mother and father were probably never, ever thought of going. And through that journey in the music, it exposed me to sex, drugs, rock and roll, life, parties, that whole thing that comes with the music industry.
Now you know you're my one desire, ooh baby. Here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Sing it now, yes. So here I am, baby. Signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours.
When I got into Wellington, I met up with a number of people, all cousins. And the first band they formed was called Kaihana. And Kaihana means cousins. And from that band was born Southside of Bombay. And Southside of Bombay released the song What's the Time, Mr. Wolf, that was on Once the Warriors.
What's the time, Mr. Wolf? What's the time? What's the time, Mr. Wolf? What's the time? What's the time, Mr.
I wrote What's the Time, Mr. Wolf in 1989. And I remember one year when Tahupōtiki Ratana's daughter, Te Reo Hura, she was the head of the church, or the Tumuaki, speaking to the people on the marae at the time. And she was warning our people about the treaty settlement era. And she says to our people, beware of a big black wolf running around with a big bag of money on his back. The line goes, what's the time, Mr. Wolf, what's the time? I said it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, spooning up dinner, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, with you, with the boys. What's the time, Mr. Wolf?
Asking what's the time in the treaty settlement era. And I'm also asking, with the clock, where are we in the prophecy? And there is also a line in there that I wanted to put in that acknowledged David Longy. And there's the line in the song goes, there's Mr. Daddy Long Legs, he's crawling up to the ceiling.
Mr. Daddy Long Legs, crawling up to the ceiling. The sun don't shine, the sun don't shine.
The sun don't shine at all. And that's Daddy Long Legs is a play on David Longy, crawling up to the ceiling when he got to
The Oxford debate,
yeah, Oxford debate, and that's him crawling up to the ceiling. The sun don't shine, the sun don't shine, and that was his debate about the nuclear-free. So that song has religious connotations, spiritual connotations, biblical, and also with regards to, you know, David Longy.
What's the time, Mr. Who? What's the time? 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 Well, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Spooning up dinner, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, with the boys. What's the time, Mr. Who? What's the time? What's the time, Mr. Who? What's the time?
So, Ruya, was there any particular moment of reconciliation with your father?
Yes, there was. I remember my father, just before he passed away, he was in hospital. And at that time, I was right in the middle of recording a single. And when I went to the hospital, I took the demo tape of the recording that I did of the song that I was working on. And I wanted to share with my father the joy I had in the music. And I wanted to show to him some way, Dad, this is my calling. This is where my ministry lies. And so I walked into the hospital. I took my CD player and I took a reel-to-reel so that I could record him. I took it in and he was lying on bed, sad, melancholy, and he knew what I was going to say and he didn't want to hear it. Yeah. But I played the recording. This is the song, Dad, and I played it.
Ina hoki ko te reo tonu tēnā o ngā apa mārei kura hei. Kokiri, te tau, karangake nei. I thought that you would understand me by now. Yeah, mai rano. So lonely 'cause my world was breaking down.
And he looked at me with tears running down his eyes and said, son, if you overcome this and you achieve this goal, you overcome what I couldn't do, to overcome the bureaucracy of the church and the movement. And then with that, I cried and we hugged. And then I got the mic out and I said, Dad, let's have a kōrero. And for the last moment, the last time I ever had to talk with my father, I recorded it on tape. And we had an hour-and-a-half discussion, speaking of his aspirations,
Fantastic.
His fears. My father was looking at me to relive his life through me until he realized, son, you have your own life to live. And in that was so liberating for me. And as sad as it was, I left him and I said, Dad, I've got to go to Auckland and finish the recording. And he looked at me and he says, if you have to go, you go. If that's your calling, you go. I left him in the hospital, travelled up to Auckland. Soon as we finished the recording in the studio, as we finished the final mix, I got a phone call. While we were in studio, my father passed away. And when our father passed away and I played the song, it helped free me. So, yeah, I resolved that with my father, and that song today still holds a special place in my heart. And that song's called Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. And it's based on the proverb, the titi cries, the kaka cries. I also have a cry, and I shall sing that cry. And what it was saying was that you have your life to live, I have my life to live.
Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau. Ka tangi te titi, ka tangi te kaka, ka tangi hoki ahau.
When we're at our most vulnerable and at the most highest point of a crisis, when everything else fails, we have no other option but to go back inside, and we have no other option but to put our trust and faith into something that's greater than ourselves. For me, prayer, God, and has served that for me in my life. Both my mother and father have passed on, and while that gap, while their loss leaves a deep gap, there's something else that can fill it. God, life, love, those things that are synonymous again. Prayer for me is a way of meditation. Prayer for me is a way of earthing myself. Prayer for me is also aligning myself and reminding myself where I come from, where I am now, and where I'm focused. I'm not focused on discovering who I am. I'm focused on determining who I want to be.
Does music communicate God?
All the time.
So is it true to say then that your musical vocation, your work as a musician, is an expression of your Ratana spirituality?
Most definitely. Music is my ministry. The saxophone, the keyboard is my bib, is my robe. It's the way I express. So while I love my father, the passion and drive that I have to focus in music, entertainment, to uplift people, to touch people, I am loving my father on earth and loving my father in heaven.
Does it matter whether the people, your audience, understand that that's what you're doing, that that's what's happening?
No, not necessarily, because things come to us in different ways. And I realized that there is not one way of expressing God. There is not one way of loving God. If people appreciate music because it makes them smile, that's good enough for me.
Kia ora e koro. Aerama haua tō mua ki tēnei patuai atu.
I host a radio program. It's called Piri Wiri Tua. The name, it originates from the philosophies again of Ratana, and in particular the social, political and economic side of the church and movement. Piri Wiri Tua. Piri means to touch, wiri means to draw, tua means to come to the other side. To touch on the topic, draw through the topic until we get to the other side. Whatever the outcome might be, that's dependent on how the show goes. But the themes are related to health, education, spirituality, politics. And I have a lot of interesting debates and conversations on the radio station.
Apo te tohu tēnei, o taku maramatanga ka tuka o hokare aka tākina Ko te tohu tēnei o taku maramatanga ka tuka o hokare aka tākina Tuhari koko
You're married, you're an expectant father.
Yes.
Is your partner's Ratana?
No, my partner is actually Catholic.
Right.
And while we come from different denominations and backgrounds, I didn't fall in love with her because of her religion.
Right.
I fell in love with her because I fell in love with her heart and her sincerity. And that's what attracted me to her. And because my wife, she also has similar outlooks on life, and she believes that our spirituality and God is something that not what we discover, but what we determine who we want to be. And so that plays an important role and focus for us in terms of us and now having a family.
They've got really big wheels, so they're actually easy to drive around.
Nice, yeah. And to have children, for me, is one of the most beautiful gifts, because to have children helps me achieve, to transcend my selfishness, not to determine, like my father tried to determine for me how I might live my life, but to give the opportunity and that spark of life to another person and say, go out. I want to see that spark in your life and what you do with that spark to make it a fire. Now that fire can either, once you nurture it, can either burn you or it can either keep you cozy warm. That's what. Love you. Both Irina and I, that's what we see, that birth child is actually the purest form of religion for us.
Arepa omeka piri piri tua amuero yeah matua tama wairua tapu anahera ponho po te mangai hei tautoko maia wupu wupu de bang po te mangai hei tautoko maia wupu wupu de bang. There's a celebration going right throughout our nation. Katsuka hokare akatakina. Katsuka hokare akatakina. The blue, the white, the red, the purple and gold. Katsuka hokare.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.